Hey guys, what's good? How are we doing today? Welcome back to the channel. All right, so in today's video, we are going to go over the best settings for you to be using in the Modern Warfare 3 beta. This will go for graphics settings and controller settings. I do not play on mouse and keyboard anymore. I haven't for a couple years, so I will not be going over mouse and keyboard settings in today's video. But if you guys want someone who is really good at mouse and keyboard, Strafe, I'll put his channel in the description down below. All right, so before we get into today's video, if you guys want to show me some support, be sure to hit that like button. If you have not done so yet, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Friendly reminder, I do stream over on Twitch, so if you guys ever want to catch me live, definitely go over there, hit the follow button. The link should be down in the description below. All right guys, so with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. All right guys, so now that we're in the game, let's go over to the settings. We're going to start with the graphics settings first, then we'll move on over to controller settings. So head on over to graphics. I'm not going to go over every single thing, I'm just going to go over what's most important. So starting in the display tab, I play on full screen borderless. This is solely just my preference. I know some people say that you can get a little bit better performance in your game if you play on full screen exclusive. I don't really notice a difference. For your display adapter, especially if you're playing on PC, make sure you have it selected for whatever graphics card you are running in your computer, because sometimes it might not. Now heading a little bit farther down, we go over to VSync. Make sure you have VSync turned off. That's always something you should make sure you have turned off. For frame rate limit, custom frame rate limit, I have it set to unlimited to maximize the amount of frames I get. Going farther down, some of this stuff you don't really need to touch. The NVIDIA Reflex low latency, make sure you have this on, not on plus boost, just keep it on. And that's really about it for the display tab. Nothing else there is too important that you need to change. So let's move on over to quality. So everything on my quality tab I set customly, so I don't really do any of the preset stuff. So we'll start with render resolution. Always try and keep that at 100. If you have a lower grade setup and you're struggling to get higher frame rate or a higher frame rate that you want, you can try turning this down to 90, but don't go any lower than that, or else your picture quality will start to really suffer. Go down to anti-aliasing. You can have this on SMAA T2X if you really want to maximize your FPS. I have it on Filmic SMAA just because I like to have a better picture quality, and I have a 4090, so I don't really need to try that hard to get really good frames. But if you have a lower grade setup, definitely have this on SMAA. VRAM scale target, always try and have this on 90. If you start to notice some stuttering issues during your game, try turning this down a little bit. That will definitely help that, but try and have it as high as possible. So going down to details and textures, I have these set for having good frames, but having your picture quality not look like ass. So I'm not gonna have everything maxed out, but I'm not gonna have everything in the lowest setting possible. So for texture resolution, I honestly think you can keep this on normal. It doesn't really affect the frames that much. Like if I have this on high or very low, the frame rate difference is almost noticeable. Texture filter and Estropic, have this on high or normal. Again, this one doesn't really affect the frames that much from what I've tested. Depth of field, always try and have this off. It actually hurts your ability to see sometimes. Detail quality level and particle resolution, I have these both on normal. Don't need to put them on high, and the difference between high and low is almost not noticeable. Bullets impacts, try and have this off. I know a lot of pro players play with these off as well. Shader quality, I have this on medium. I wouldn't suggest putting it on high. If you have a decent PC, have this on medium. If you have a lower tier PC, put it on low. On-demand texture streaming, I've always had this on off. A lot of the pro players I've looked up, a lot of them don't play with this on either, so I would just suggest not having this on. And then local texture streaming quality, have this set to normal. All right, so now moving on to shadow and lighting. This is probably like the biggest thing, to have everything on low. So have shadow quality on low, screen space shadows low, ambient inclusion off, screen space reflections off, and static reflection quality low. Having these on low will definitely help your frame rate a little bit. So, and it's the least noticeable gameplay wise. So definitely have all of these as low as possible. Environment, this more so comes into play when you're playing a bigger map like Ground War or playing Warzone. It's not as important in normal pubs since the maps are not that big. But for me, tessellation, I have it on near. Terrain memory, have this on max. Volumetric quality, medium. Deferred physics quality, low. Weather grid volumes, low. Anything that's weather or water or shadow related, try and have that all on low. We got the water quality set to default. I wouldn't have it anything other than that, because the water quality, why does that matter? All right, so moving on over to the view tab, we got field of view up first. This is solely up to your preference. I play on 120. I know a lot of other pro players play on 120. Some pro players play on like 110. Any number between 100 and 120. I wouldn't suggest having it below 100. So I would just try out different numbers, see what feels best for you. Just know that the higher your FOV is, the faster it's going to look like you are moving on your screen. That's like the biggest thing I get out of it. If you have it on 120, it will look like you're moving way faster than if you have it on like 90. ADS field of view, have this on effective. The weapon field of view and vehicle field of view, you can have this on default. Now for camera, world motion blur, definitely have anything motion blur related off. So these two will be off. Film grain, 0. First person camera movement, definitely have this as at least 50%. That will help you hit your shots better. There will be less camera shake. Spectre to camera, that doesn't really matter. And then inverted flashbang, I turned this on and off. It was a really big problem in Modern Warfare 2. People would have this on in MW2. I don't know yet. It's all up to personal preference, really. I have it off for now, but that may change. All right, guys, so now that we got through the graphics settings, let's head on over to the controller settings. Like I said, I don't play mouse and keyboard, so I'm only going to be talking about controller, but if you do want to look up someone that's really good at mouse and keyboard on Call of Duty, Strafe, I'll put him in the description down below so you can check his channel out. So I'm only really going to go over the really important stuff because a lot of controller stuff is up to personal preference, but there are certain things that you should have a specific setting on. So the first really important thing is dead zone inputs. Basically, if you don't really understand dead zones, if we're talking about left stick minimum, it's the minimum amount that you have to move your analog stick for it to trigger in game. So the lower number you have this, the less you have to move your analog stick for it to move your character in the game. So you're always going to want to have the minimum number set as low as possible. The only downside is if your controller has stick drift, the lower the number is, the worse your stick drift will be. So I would just try and get this as low as possible without there being noticeable stick drift. The left stick max and right stick max does not really matter. I've always had this at 99. I've never really touched it. A lot of people say the maximum doesn't matter. It's the minimum that is the really important one. So heading on over to aiming, this is all just going to be my recommendation based off my opinion and then what I know a lot of other pro players and streamers use for their numbers here. So for aiming, horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity, you're always going to want to have these two numbers be the same first off. And then number 2, the general number people play on is 6. That's like the go-to number for your stick sensitivity. Some good players play on it a little higher, like I know Jowo plays on 9.9, but I know the general amount of players play on 6.6. If 6 feels fast to you, try and move it down to like 5 and then work your way up to 6, but always have 6 be like the minimum goal that you have your sensitivity at. The ADS sensitivity multiplier, I definitely would suggest try turning this down a little bit under 1.0. I play at 0.90 right now. I change it every now and then, but I would definitely have it a little bit under 1.0, especially in this game since movement is a little faster. If someone were to like slide around your screen really quick in front of you, having this a little bit under 1 will definitely help you have a more steady shot. The next really important one to touch on is the aim response curve type. I have this on dynamic. Dynamic is like what you should try and work towards if you're not on dynamic. Every pro player plays on dynamic. Every streamer I watch plays on dynamic. It's just a little bit harder to hit your shots if you're a less experienced player with it on. So if it feels hard for you to hit shots on dynamic, try and start on standard and then work your way towards dynamic. For ADS sensitivity transition timing, I definitely would have this on instant. The other two are kind of like, it's just pointless to have it on those other two options. Almost everyone I know plays with it on instant. And then obviously in the aim assist section, target aim assist, have this on. And then for aim assist type, have it on default. I don't know many people that are trying out the other ones. You can try out the other ones, but default, it feels good. And almost everyone I'm watching currently also has it on default. Now moving on over to the gameplay tab, movement behaviors. Some of these are pretty important. So first one, automatic sprint. I have this on automatic tactical sprint. A lot of players and streamers I know use automatic tactical sprint. It just makes it a lot easier. Your movement can just be faster and more fluid, and you don't have to constantly be like pressing buttons to go into tac sprint. You just move your analog stick forward and you go into a straight tac sprint. It feels so good. Next really important one to probably touch on is the invert slide and dive behavior. Definitely would suggest having this on standard, not inverted. For ledge climb behavior, definitely put this on movement based. That will help you climb ledges faster in general. Just less button pressing and ledge hanging in general. This game can be kind of slow, so anything to move the speed of ledge climbing is better. Aim down sight behavior, definitely have this on hold. And then change zoom shared input, sprint tactical sprint focus. The next important one to touch on is the interact reload behavior. Definitely have this on prioritize interact, and this will come into play way more once you're playing Warzone. This isn't as important in normal multiplayer. And the last important one you should probably have on, if you don't have it on, is the depleted ammo weapon switch. Have this on, automatically switches your weapon once you run out of ammo, so that can help you win a gunfight, especially if the guy's like one shot and you run out of your last bullet, you need to switch your pistol. So definitely have this on. All right, guys, so that's it for this settings video. If you found this helpful whatsoever, definitely leave a like. And if there's anything I did not touch on, leave it down below in the comments for me and anyone else to check out. I hope you guys are enjoying the Modern Warfare 3 beta. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Remember, stay blessed, not stressed out there. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.